Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Prospect Central 101. My name is Chris, and today joining me we have
Daniel.
Keely and Daniel. Okay, so today we are going to be watching some Zach Wilson with you guys today. He is the quarterback for Brigham Young University, also known as BYU. And Keelan, I know that you watched a little bit of Zach Wilson, if I remember correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are your thoughts from what you remember watching on him so far?
All right, I'm a big fan of his. In a way, that I don't know how he's gonna get into the NFL, but he's an electrifying player who extends plays with his legs, and he basically does it all himself. But in a way that if he's under pressure, he's gonna run around like a chicken with his head cut off to try to make a good play.
That all you got?
He he has good tools. He's pretty accurate. He's an all right decision maker, not an elite decision maker. From what I remember, it's been a little bit. Um, he has a pretty good arm. Um, I just wonder how it's going to translate to the NFL.
Cool. Daniel?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I think you already know this, but I'm a Jack Wilson skeptic here. Everything Keelan said is pretty much accurate. He is an electrifying player. He does have arm strength. He does have mobility. My question is with more with the mental side of his game. I find he doesn't really go through progressions. He tends to lock on to one target for the entirety of the play. He doesn't really feel the rush in the pocket, and or nor does he manipulate the pocket well. Just overall, I mean, mobility is like good, but it's not like Lamar Jackson or even Deshaun Watson level.
Okay.
It's still just not where it needs to be in order for him to overcome his major warts in the pocket, where he should be doing most of his damage anyways in the National Football League. Overall, I'm just not seeing it with him. I'm not seeing where he makes NFL style reads or whatnot. And I know that even in this league, where the game is more so tending towards the physical, I still think that when you need some baseline mental traits, and I just don't see that with him.
So, to me, his mobility is closer to a Tua Tagovailoa than a Lamar or Watson.
Okay. Interesting. So today we're going to start with the Navy game from 2020. Shout out to Brandon for suggesting this in our group chat. I'm just going to pick skip. Oh, okay, I've actually heard all these, so yay. Cool. Oh, whatever. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, still 19? Ooh, yeah, okay. So that kind of goes to show the decision-making questions that Daniel had. 11 to 9
Yeah.
TD to INT ratio is not exactly sparkling there. I think Lamar's senior year, he had like 30 passing to 5 picks, or 20 passing. Okay. So feel like that's actually pretty clean footwork, mechanically. And yeah, the arm strength is definitely a thing.
For sure.
I missed that. Okay, I like the coverage manipulation here. He's going to start out by taking this left side read, as you can tell here. I'm just going to quickly dart this back over and attack with 18. So, good read manipulation on that play. Same thing. Doesn't exactly sell the handoff as much as I'd like, but he does redirect that progression there outside. Same thing, another player going for 2 reads. Starts out with that outside read, knows that he's going to be covering on boundary, shifts inside, and unfortunately he trips. Okay, definitely liking the arm strings so far. Also, I like his ability again to make these reads, right? It's just starting out with that look to keep them big left, and then he attacks that right-sided boundary. I like to see plays that a little bit more outside, but overall still very, very good play.
Yeah, I haven't seen this game, to be honest. It feels like I'm watching a little bit of a different quarterback, to be honest, than what I've seen. Maybe I was wrong, or maybe I need to rewatch.
Well, we'll see though, because this is only the first 2 minutes of the first game. You said you watched the Boise State game, so we will be getting to the Boise State game too. This was the game that this is the game that Brandon suggested, and he's well noted for being a Zach Wilson fanboy. So, nice play though there. Good trajectory. Yep, that's really easy play. Classic Kansas City Chiefs play right there. Andy Reid loves that stuff. Same thing. I like how he's able to kind of redirect this. He's first taking a look at this left side, looking for that shot downfield. Knows it's not there, just takes the easy play. Very nice. Okay, I like the low pass there. I like how he sells this. Right, so he's looking at this bottom receiver on the one-on-one. Number, I want to say it's 18. He knows he's not going to win that one-on-one, so he shovels it to the back. Nice late second adjustment by Wilson to improv that. Nice. I like how smooth he is as well. Does naturally very nice job of just swiveling this. Takes the handoff and he comes right out of it. Easy open. Right on target. Yeah. Nice. I love how he keeps his eyes downfield on this play too, knowing that he's outside the pocket running around, still looking for the open receiver before he takes this upfield. Works out, results in a nice gain for him. Pressure. Oh, that was actually really nice picked up. So same thing, as we talked about a few times already. Starts this by reading left half, sees the 4-on-2, so you're assuming double coverage there. Actually, that's 4-on-3 because he drops. 2nd and 2 wants to take the shot instead. Has an open guy, he just overthrows. So great processing there, great reads. It's not the best throws. Nice velocity there, short field. Same thing. Talked about it a few times already. Starts with the inside right here, ends up actually going outside. To keep that midfield third center. Love the comfortness. We talked about this a lot in the chess video. Just feels very comfortable here, even though they're sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still a nice tight ball, right on target. Beautiful.
But if I may cut in here, with a negative on this play, even though it was a positive result, I'm thinking more so of the process here. He does appear to be locked in on a single progression on this play. So even though it's a completion, I don't think it would be a completion in the NFL where defenders are just too good that if you telegraph where you're going with your eyes for multiple seconds, you're probably not going to complete that pass.
So it's hard for me to say there though, because at the same time, like if this defender were to keep dropping, like you would have this guy open even more. So it's hard to say because like this guy kind of stays center field between. So I think that he feels comfortable and confident in his arm to get that throw over the defender as he actually does here, because he crashes down even though he doesn't like see that the ball's going behind. And then worst case scenario, you can still sell this as this deep defender here. So if this defender were to be like closer, you would expect him to maybe get off that reading either A, account for this defender here moving back and then take the short route like he did on a couple plays ago, or you can maybe take that shot deep on that
Yeah, fair.
either.
I just wanted to point that out.
Like on this play, another perfect example, right? So what's going to end up happening is it looks like he's locked into this guy for the duration of the play, right? Like if you watch his eyes. But because everyone is on that side of the field, you still have so many options with where he can go with the ball. Like you still have, like for example, if this defender crashes down, he's obviously going to be open. But this defender ends up attacking this, so which opens up the lane when he attacks vertically. And you even have number 5 open. So, like, for me, it would be more of an issue, I guess what I'm saying here, is it would be more of an issue if he made the wrong decision because of that. But because like the guy is still open, it doesn't really bother me as much. If you kind of get
Fair
my drift
enough.
there.
Fair enough. Yeah. Makes sense.
And the other thing I like about this play too, and the actual throw itself, is for one, you see the velocity here, but you also get the combination with that with the ball placement. He's hitting him right in stride, great timing on the throw as well. Leads him upfield, to be able to get that rack. Same thing. Places a little behind him to avoid the interior rush, but doesn't make him completely turn around either. Touchdown.
He really likes throwing the number 18, which is Romney, if I recall correctly.
Oh, nice. That Bill Belichick playing it. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I love the arm strength. Oh my. So yeah, I think what he does here is he actually takes. You're gonna see it when he turns. Right here, he's gonna take a look at this coverage while he's moving. It's almost Russell Wilson-like. Russell Wilson does this quite a bit. Interesting, same last name. But he's going to take a look at this coverage while he's in the process of the fake. And that gives him the opportunity to say, okay, now I can sell this to the left. And then he comes right back around to where he was. So watch how he takes a look, his eyes right here on this receiver. This is where he's going to throw the ball to after the play.
Yep.
But then right here at the same time, he's going to turn this and sell this deep left. Because he has this guy running on the left side boundary here too. And then he comes right back to it, right at the last second, turns his head to re-find him. And then delivers an insane ball.
Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He has exceeded my expectations for this game.
So, Damon, actually, we'll start with Keelan. Your thoughts on this? You didn't say it a lot yet. Keelan, you still here?
Keelan?
Hello?
Oh, there you are. You're quiet, but we can kind of hear you.
Oh.
Now we can't hear you at all again. I just heard you again. You're really quiet, but we can kind of hear you.
Hi.
Okay, are you there?
Can you hear me any
Yeah,
better?
there you go. Yep, now you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, what I was gonna say is I apologize for not speaking too much. I was eating, but from what I noticed and from he did exceed my expectations. I liked his composure. I liked some of the decisions he made. I thought he made good decisions. He was pretty accurate, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised on what I saw.
Cool. Daniel?
Agree with Keelan.
Sweet. The one thing that I didn't really say, because I still want to make sure I screenshot this. The one thing that I didn't actually really see a whole lot of, I actually have 0 notes for him on the mobility side from that game. Was that something that either of you guys caught? Was any of the mobility aspect of his?
Yeah, that was a weird change from the other games I watched, where he stayed in the pocket a lot more than the games I watched prior to today.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like an uncharacteristic game based on the film that I saw. But that doesn't mean that we discard it. Obviously, it means that maybe he got better, or maybe he had a different game plan, or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, it, I'm really interested now in the rest of the session just to see if perhaps my initial impression of him was flawed.
Yeah, I have to agree with Daniel. Sorry. If he can play like the way he played in that game against Navy, I think he has a lot better chance of succeeding in the NFL rather than from what I remember of him in other games.
Cool. Alrighty, so let's get to Boise State game. This is the one that Daniel said he had watched. And had come to a little bit more of a negative side of things. So maybe that was a good game, maybe this is a bad one. We'll end up seeing how that kind of plays itself out here. But yeah, I didn't really catch anything in terms of the mobility lag game, so I'm kind of curious to see if maybe this is something that pops up.
Very great quality YouTube.
Oh, that's my computer. I gotta adjust eventually in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it also doesn't help that for some reason my screen is not working properly, because it should cut off the bottom bar. Let me try going in full screen. That doesn't fix the problem. That's unfortunate.
Weird.
Yeah, the bottom bar shouldn't be showing. I don't know why it is, but whatever.
No problem.
Unfortunately, I'm not as much of a tech guru as Eddie P.
There it is.
There we go. At least I fixed that problem. Nice, got that turkey rolling up. Yeah, that's a good point. Watch his release on this ball. Obviously, there's a free rusher coming home. Boom, he gets that out hella quick. Like, that release is insanely quick. That was, what are you doing?
Get this guy manual.
I don't know whose fault that is, but that is not the way that is supposed to look. If you're going to run a play action, or even an RPO, or whatever this ends up being, you do not want a running back running behind you. And then because of that, obviously that guy does not bite at all because he doesn't get close to faking it. So that was
It was an interesting play.
snap, snap, snap. Okay, I would like to see a little bit more. I tried to pause it. I don't know why I didn't pause. I'd like to see a little bit more recognition here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. and he's still stuck there. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that awareness. Obviously, that's an Aaron Rodgers. You know that ball is getting snapped ASAP.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, they technically still should have called it because the number 90 doesn't finish getting run off here. So there's still 12.
But that ball should have been snapped like 2 or 3
it
seconds
was
prior.
a lot more obvious before that. Oh, come on. Oh, that's an actual film issue. That's not a computer thing. Okay. That's a good throw. I like this throw on the boundary here from Wilson. Nice throw on the run as well. Beautiful ball placement to get that on the boundary side.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a little bit more of the mobility side. Okay. Nice. Again, we get to see the two read. Starts with throwing the outside or the inside guy. Oh, wait, maybe not. Starts with reading the outside guy. There it is, and then we see him move inside.
Yeah, maybe it's possible I was harsh on Wilson's ability to read the field. It's just a little bit difficult to tell with like the helmet already being white, and so that's my bad. That might be my bad in terms of.
You are right in the fact that he's generally sticking to half field reads, but at the same time, like we're also seeing him. Oh my! Like there's no way that was his first read on this play.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he obviously starts looking left, and then after that he has to run right. But like, yeah. So he's generally sticking to half field reads for the most part, but he is definitely showing a propensity to go through more than one or two reads. Unless there's a quick play design, in which case that is a one read play by nature.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Make up your mind. Nice. Or against the blitz, in which case, again, this is generally. Oh, actually, you know what? You can make the argument this is my guy, because he's going to have double cross here. And he starts out like as if he's primary 83 against this rush. I'm assuming 83 is going to be your hot versus that side because you're obviously losing that coverage. So even that was probably a multi-play. You just didn't get the chance to look at the receivers downfield.
I like his ability to get the ball out really quickly.
Yeah,
the
release is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
See now, this is an example of his lack of pocket presence, in my opinion. He just doesn't. Like, he has the ability to get the ball out there, but I think he just fails to recognize what the situation is in terms of where he is in the pocket and whatnot. See now, like he could, like Kyle Trask probably steps up in that pocket there and tries to get the ball out.
Yeah.
Because the outside rusher comes and he's just flat-footed there a little bit. So
yeah, so he actually trips. He doesn't initially get hit on this at all. He just tries to sideswipe, and he ends up falling before the pressure even gets there. So I don't know if maybe his feet got tangled up or what, but
To me,
he definitely
Wilson-
didn't actually get hit. He just fell.
To me, the way you scheme your lineman against Wilson is more of a you want the outside speed rush, whereas for Trask you want that power rush to clog up the interior, the same way you would game plan for Drew Brees or Kyler Murray, in the way that you want to clog up the path or the interior lane, because that's where they like to move up in the pocket.
So this is an interesting throw from Wilson, because, well, first off, we're going to watch but then the timing on this throw, for him to maximize that separation at the top of the route, and then throw it right on the boundary, that is very, very good ball placement. You'll get an even better look at it here, right? Because watch, boom, right as he separates there is when he turns back for the ball, and it's right there. So that is excellent, excellent timing by Wilson, and fantastic ball placement to put that right where it needs to be on that boundary side.
Of course, it's the Romney who makes the catch. Gotta love it.
Nice mobility. Nice. Again, this is going to save him a lot, or at the very least get him some penalties in the NFL level. Is this release is so quick. And that's one of the reasons why Darnold has struggled in the NFL level, is his release is relatively slow, from what I remember correctly. Whereas with Wilson, like, he is getting this ball out of there. That ball is way out of his hands, and he's a step ahead. Like, that's clearly at the NFL, that's roughing the passer. I don't know if they actually called that. It doesn't look like they did. Because that's 38. Oh, wait, yeah, they did. Because that's 21. 15. So, yeah, they definitely called that. That's going to be huge for him, that quick release like that. Yeah, again, watch Wilson with the reads. Starts out reading center. Sees the tight coverage here, specifically these two linebackers on these two guys. And then makes a riskier throw, but again, excellent ball precision placement there. Boom, right on the money where it needs to be.
Yeah, I was straight up wrong about it. I think I'm not sure what I was watching.
That's fair. I do the same thing sometimes, where you get in your own head about something, and that's kind of this thing that you kind of look for.
Yeah,
when it's not really there.
for sure.
Another really nice red zone throw from him as well. Run. Yep, good. Good. Jeez. 18-2 for Trask.
There it is.
Holy crap.
I wonder what his stats are now.
Matt Jones. He's another guy I'm going to end up watching.
Yeah, he's another guy that's getting some
First round hype.
occasionally getting day one hype, probably day two.
They'll probably do him later on this week.
Nice.
Should
Trask
have
has
thrown that.
34.
What?
Trask has 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this year now.
Oh my gosh. I don't know
I'm
what
unsure if that counts this week.
One thing I do think is real with him is his lack of pocket presence.
Yep.
Because this is a really bad play. That ball needs to be out by
Yep.
then.
When he pumped it, he just let it go.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a little low. Get out. Yep. Okay. Oh my. Okay. Definitely got that bullet pass to him. Get out. Yep. Good. Oh, look at the lane here. Talked about this during the Trask video. Watch the lane that this goes through. Over the linebacker, between the two defenders. That ball path is very, very well executed.
Wow. That's a great throw.
And on the run, too. Nice. That time we got a
Nice job
little
getting
stare
him out.
heavy on this particular play, because if
Yeah.
you're going to watch him, he's pretty predetermined that he's going to hit check down. I don't know if he's feeling blitz here. Not necessarily, but he knows he's going to hit a cross because you're going to see him switch from left receiver here that's coming across to the running back who's coming across. So it's almost like he's trying to just distract this defender here, knowing that he's going to hit the cross. It ends up working for him. But yeah, watch. So he's going to end up hitting this receiver here, actually, not the running back. That's my fault. He's going to hit, it looks like 83. And
Yeah.
he's going to make up his mind really early on in the play because you're seeing he's not actually really looking at the receiver. He's looking at the defender.
It definitely seems like Romney is his favorite target.
Is that 83?
I believe that's 83, unless I'm mistaken.
I think 83 is a
I
tight
think
end
it's
and Romney's
18.
18.
Oh, my bad then. Never mind.
But Romney is his favorite target for sure.
Because, yeah, if you look at this particular play, it's almost like he's not even, especially there. I don't know if I'm going to see if I can pause it in frame. Boom, he's not looking at the receiver. You can maybe make the argument he's checking the up top guy, but it's very clear that he's trying to manipulate this defender here in space. And it's almost like
Yeah, and I'm not sure that he does a good job of it either.
Well, he does, because what's going to end up happening is it's going to end up holding this defender deep off enough to where he can, unfortunately, he throws this late. He should have released that a little bit earlier. But it does hold him off enough to where he can place that inside and the defender is not able to undercut the route. So it does work, even with poor timing. That's a hold. Oh my god.
That's a
One
great
thing you
throw.
can't take away from him is his deep accuracy.
That's exquisite ball placement. Jesus. In case of emergency, I pray to Jesus. That was an emergency. Dang. And on the
This is
run,
an
off platform.
emergency for Boise State.
Let's play fake that time for a change. Nice calm pocket presence there for a change. Doesn't really feel the rush on this particular play because there is none. And yeah, when that's clean, he's got that locked down. Easy. Also, can kind of tell from this angle a little bit better. But you see, he takes that peek at the tight end on the runaround, and he comes off of this guy here, and then he attacks that downfield. So definitely nice progression play there too. Nice, good, quick release. And it's plays like that where that quick release is really going to save help him. Because he just gets that out quick. And that defender here, even though he's in the path, really doesn't have a chance because he gets that ball out so quick.
His ability to get the ball out fast is a trait that I think a lot of scouts are going to fall in love with.
Yep. Yeah, that release is fantastic. Oh, LPI.
Rip.
Nice play fake that time. So he's getting a little bit better at the play fake there. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice tight window throw. Oh.
Flat-footed a little bit, doesn't step into the throw, just kind of sidearms it.
And my biggest issue on this particular play is the timing. Because at this point in the play, well, okay, that's because he's bringing another receiver. That's unfortunate. But at this point in the play, he has this because this defender still gets some space, especially with his arm. But he just holds it, and then even with the release, like that's not enough time for him to get that out. Especially if you're going to lead him like that. If you're throwing it to him, you might have a shot, but yeah, you didn't really have much of a chance there.
Yeah.
Nice. Good play there, though.
I love his downfield passing, but I definitely think he fits in a more of a quick short pass system. Just the way that his releases and how he plays in the pocket, I think he's more suited for the quick passes, the quick short passes.
Watch what he does.
I mean, really, he reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. So if we get like a Brian Dobble in here, I think that we should take Jack Golson.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I kind of disagree with you on Allen.
All right, fair
I
enough.
think he's a lot more consistent down the field than Josh Allen is. Josh Allen, I can't tell you how many times I've seen him overthrow a guy by like 15 yards. I don't think we've seen Zach Wilson miss by anywhere near that much once.
Fair enough.
So the downfield accuracy is a lot more consistent there. I also think they're very different types of mobile. I think that with Josh Allen, you're a little bit more of like your power-based rushing. Like he's the guy that'll like attempt to lower the shoulder and run over a guy, whereas with Wilson, you're seeing a little bit more of that finesse rushing, almost like a Russell Wilson type of runner.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think we're seeing too is that with Wilson, I don't really necessarily know how to phrase this, but he's a little bit less reliant on the arm strength than Allen is. I think with Wilson, you have a little bit more of like the placement is a little bit more consistent. I guess it's basically the general way I'm trying to trend this.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more consistent as a passer. Whereas with Allen, like he'll make that wow throw, and then the next throw he won't be close, and then he'll make the wow throw, and then the next throw he won't be close. I think with Wilson you get a little bit more
I
of that consistency there. Maybe not in terms of the decision-making side, but in terms of the passing elements.
yeah, I just think he's really raw as a decision maker in the same way that Allen is. I think that he tries. I think that his lack of
aggressive.
timing is similar to like a early career Josh Allen.
Okay.
Um, and obviously, I mean, like there are differences in the style of rushing for sure, but overall, they're both big athletic guys with really strong arms, and so I get where you're coming from in terms of the differences, but I also think that their profiles are still kind of similar.
Interesting. All right.
I'm not quite sure where I have had him comparison-wise, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm still making up my mind on my own, myself. But it's definitely going to be someone who has that kind of. I'm going to take a look at my NFL rankings and see if I can come up with something.
Kyler kind of seems
Yeah,
interesting, but
I think
I
Kyler
don't
is
know
even
how
more.
the way he runs and the way he makes plays on the run and his downfield accuracy screams Kyler to me. I think Kyler's better in the pocket, I think, a little bit. But they both have similar like quick releases. So I think Kyler's the one that I'm most leaning to through a game and 3/4.
Yeah, Kyler definitely has a little bit more of the mobility side for me too, in terms of like he could
Yeah.
actually make people miss in space. Like Wilson can like make people miss in space, but Kyler can make people miss in space.
And
Throw
let's
back
be
to that
frank.
Joe play.
So
Let's be.
I'd rather go ahead, Daniel.
Sorry. And let's be frank. Uh, Zach Wilson is not making people miss at the NFL level. I don't think he
I'd
has.
rather
I
fair.
don't think he has the cutting ability.
We haven't really seen too much of him running like actual running plays. We've seen him extend the play out of the pocket, but I'm not sure how many actual forward running plays we've seen.
not too many in terms of design runs.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a fair number of like one read then run type scenarios. But that just could be me.
So I'm going to highlight this throw here because this is very interesting to me, and this is what I would want him to do if he ended up in Detroit, for example. Because this guy in on Lions is TJ Hawkinson. And anytime you get TJ Hawkinson wide open up the seam, and you get someone with that kind of arm, unfortunately it's a little behind him when he doesn't actually lead him upfield, but that's an easy touchdown.
Yeah.
And like that wasn't even like necessarily leading him upfield. He actually had to turn around and catch the ball, which is fine in that situation.
Yeah.
I like to see that. That's fun.
Also, we spoke about him earlier. I can't remember if it was before recording or during recording, but shout out to Mac Jones for absolutely having a hell of a game today.
That was actually during this video.
Was it during this video?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they showed the Heisman contenders.
Well, right, that's right. Well, as we speak, there Alabama is crushing LSU 55-17, and Mac Jones has been having a hell of a game.
Nice.
Trask
Yeah.
versus Jones in the conference championship is going to be a ton of fun.
Something
Really
else.
could.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, Keelan, finish
All right, I
your
was
point
just going to say it really could decide who wins the Heisman that one game, the SEC conference championship.
For sure. Something else that's interesting about watching Mac Jones film is it kind of doubles as Devonta Smith film. But yeah. Anyways, continue on.
So one thing I like about Wilson for the most part, especially in comparison to Josh Allen, is he makes the easy throws. I just showed the one with the tight end up the seam. This throw, very easy throw. He doesn't really have to do a whole lot. He moves around in the pocket a little bit more than he probably has to. But like right on the money, right to the shoulder, right in front of him, leads him in stride. Just very easy, simple throw. Makes it. He's an aggressive decision maker, but he also understands that there are some easy throws and he needs to make them.
Yeah.
And when guys are like, you can scheme a receiver open for him.
Saw a little bit of his open field ability there. Yeah, I'm still not convinced that it will make anyone miss at the NFL level.
Yeah, but I also don't know if that's really.
Yeah, it's not
If
his
he really-
game. It's not where we're
If
going
he
to
really needs to.
for sure.
Holy crap, he caught that? Jeez. Oh, what a dart. And holy crap, what a catch.
Yeah. Not sure how he hung on to that, to be honest.
Oh my god.
God.
Okay, interesting.
I believe that was Romney. That Romney blood. But also, I'm not really familiar with too many of the BYU numbers. I don't particularly
No, it's wrong.
watch BYU.
Yeah, he's making some really nice throws, for sure. He's definitely got a little bit more of that wow factor to him than Trash does.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um,
He's a lot more electrifying.
I will say I was wrong about Wilson. I think after reviewing the tape with you guys, and this is why I love watching tape with Chris. He always points out things that I don't see, in terms of the amount of reads he makes. And now he's not just a one read quarterback like I thought he was. Don't know what I was watching there again, but thank you, Chris, for kind of showing me that he's actually reading a lot of different stuff, and I'm just not seeing it. I will say that his lack of pocket presence is something that I still think is a problem.
Yep.
He doesn't get pressured a whole lot in this game, or in the previous game, but I still think it's an issue.
There's a thing I'm quite concerned about.
Yeah,
is really he doesn't play too many good teams. I mean, Boise State's a good team. They're okay. He's only two real good teams he's played. Boise State and Coastal Carolina, and he just lost to Coastal Carolina today.
So, okay, well, for one, we haven't watched the Coastal Carolina game. And I personally have no idea how much of that is on him. So I'm
Yeah, I
not
have
going to
no
say
idea.
anything about that myself. But when it comes to level of competition, I can't tell you how many times I've had that same concern about a QB over the 10 or 15 years I've been watching tape. Somewhere in there, I lost track of the number. Actually, this is 15th because it was 2005. So over like the 15th year, the 15 years or so I've been watching tape, I've had a concern about so many QBs, and it never really ends up mattering. Because the other thing that you have to keep in mind too is that generally speaking, the players that you're playing with and the coaches that you're being coached by are also that same level. So, like for example, like you're not going to see like going to Trey Lance, right? Like Trey Lance plays like what Central Arkansas or whatever. Like the coach that he's being coached by at North Dakota State is not going to be the head coach at Texas, or the head coach at like whatever these schools are. Like they're also being coached, and their receivers in this case as a quarterback are lower level. Like for example, Zach Wilson does not have Kyle Pitts on his team. Zach Wilson is not being coached by Dan Mullen, and Zach Wilson also hasn't had the, I guess, need to overplay what he has. He hasn't necessarily had to come in and play hero ball, at least in the two games that we watched so far. Now, obviously, if you lost to Coastal Carolina or whatever team you said, then maybe that game is a little bit different than the ones that we've watched so far, which is just something to keep in mind, and maybe something we'll revisit down the line or in a bowl game and so on. But typically, players, it balances out over time.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep most of the discussion around traits that we see on film because we can't control the level of competition. We can only go off of what we see. I do think that level of competition matters in terms of like,
Yeah.
especially with regards to like, oh, he made this defender miss, or especially in regards to running backs and whatnot and receivers and whatnot. You can say like, for example, like, well, that cornerback's not going to be like 5'9" in the NFL, or that route that beat that cornerback isn't going to beat a guy in the NFL. I think that like stuff like that matters, but like it's more situational than just an overall general objection.
And the other thing to keep in mind too when it comes to level of competition is that it matters more the difference in the level of competition between your team and the other team. So, like for example, take Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones is thrown to Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. That doesn't necessarily mean like that he's going against, say for example, Florida. That Florida's cornerback number one is as good as Devontae Smith, right? Like Florida's corner one that's guarding Devontae Smith could be an undrafted rookie, or someone who never even like signs as a camp body necessarily. Now, obviously, they could have C.J. Henderson. I'm not as familiar with Florida. I'm not watching Florida players right now, but like just as an example, like I mean, the difference between Devontae Smith and Florida's CB1 is probably a bit bigger difference than the difference between Romney, whatever his name is, and whoever Boise State's corner one is. And
For
same
sure.
thing with Pitts, like we talked about with the Florida tape. right? Like the difference between Kyle Pitts and whoever, I don't remember, Ole Miss's linebackers is probably a lot bigger than the difference between BYU's tight end and whoever Boise State's linebackers are. So I think that's something that kind of comes into play for me is like, okay, so like your receiver is probably not going to be as open as Devontae Smith is on this play. Or in the case of maybe like Stafford, like, okay, you're probably not throwing to AJ Green at the next level, so your chances of finding a contested catch guy like that are not as high. But every single NFL team is going to have good players or good receivers. Like even the Lions, like right now, if you were to end up in Detroit, we know we're not going to start Quintus Cephas, Morgan Hall, and Jamal Agnew or Geronimo Allison and Jamal Agnew next year. Like we're going to have new receivers. So, and we have T.J. Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift, who are both very good pass catchers for their position. So, like every NFL team, even if they're weaker on weapons, is still going to have NFL quality capable weapons versus similarly talented defenses.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
Well, and that's why I brought up the contested catch point. But to be fair, Romney is actually pretty impressive.
It's that Romney bloodline.
I'm not sure when he comes out, but he's probably a guy that I'm going to end up watching when he does.
Future Patriot.
He's not small enough.
but he's a white Republican, so who knows?
I appreciated that, Keelan.
Follows the politics. Assuming he follows the politics. I don't know if Mitt is his father or grandfather, but
or if they're even related.
No, they're definitely related. It's either his father or grandfather. I researched it. I looked it up last time I watched Wilson.
Interesting. So thoughts through those two games. I know we already kind of went over some of them, but now that the game is officially over and we've seen the last play.
You go, Danny.
Sorry, it's just, but I have been looking at Zach Wilson the wrong way. Now I realized, I still don't think he's as good as Trask. But I think I would put him above Lance now. I think that his arm talent is exquisite for sure. His accuracy is pretty good. And his athleticism is obviously great. Like I said earlier, I still have questions about lack of pocket presence. For me, like that's something that's pretty non-negotiable in my eyes. In terms of like things that you need to have. You need to have an ability to navigate a crowded pocket. And in the limited tape that I've seen of him navigating a crowded pocket, I have not been impressed. So in order to get the most out of him, I think that you do need a good offensive line. That's it.
Keelan?
Yeah. The thing I like about Wilson is the factor that he's a real a difference maker. He's a guy who can make ridiculous plays down the field with his legs. He's not like Trask, where Trask will make the I want to say easy throw, but maybe the right play, and he throws the ball accurately. But what Wilson does is he makes the electrifying play, which it's fun to watch for sure, but I don't know how well it's gonna work out in the next level. I mean, it works out for guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. So it could work. It just all depends on the coaching he received, if he can improve his pocket presence and how he does move it going forward.
One thing that I think may sound a little strange, but is kind of the way that I'm thinking about this, is Zach Wilson seems to be more of a maker, while Kyle Trask is more of a taker. And that Zach Wilson kind of makes things happen on his own a little bit more. He's someone who can create a little bit more. He's someone who can improv a little bit more. He's someone who can kind of make things. Whereas Kyle Trask is someone who can kind of take what's given to him. Someone who's a little bit more accepting, a little bit more safe, a little bit more willing to kind of like, okay, this is what the defense is giving me. This is what I'm going to take. He's willing to settle a little bit more. He's a little bit more comfortable than Wilson is.
I like that.
So Wilson is someone who has that extra it factor because of that. He's someone who can make that wild play because of that. He's someone who can be that difference maker, as Keelan said, because of that. Whereas Trask is the guy who's got a little bit more of that game manager, Jimmy Garoppolo-ish style of play to him. You put him in a run-heavy offense, you put him in a system that is going to naturally scheme guys open, for instance, or put guys in position to beat the right coverages or have those good play calls and things like that. Kyle Trask is going to have success.
Yeah.
Whereas Wilson is someone who's going to have to make his own success. Is he going to be able to do that? Personally, I lean towards yes through 2 games, especially if he ends up in the right system. But I can understand why someone would think that he may not be able to. Patrick Mahomes is another maker. You have guys like that who can make their own success. Now, to be fair, of course, he has help from guys like Andy Reid, like guys in Tyreek Hill, like guys in Sammy Watkins, like guys in Demarcus Robinson, like guys specifically in Travis Kelce, who are able to help make him. But at the same time, you also have guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, like Jared Goff, like others. Those are just 2 examples who can take their own success and aren't afraid of having to be the guy and trying not to be the guy and are willing to be a piece of the puzzle. Which goes back to what I talked about during the Trask video with the whole DYJ type guy. And Kyle Trask is very much a do your job type of guy, which some teams are going to love. And Zach Wilson is not a do your job type of guy. He is not someone who fits within the system. He is someone you make your system around. And he is someone that you build your team for. Zach Wilson is your franchise quarterback if he hits. Kyle Trask maybe not so much. But Zach Wilson, I think, has that difference in him that kind of propels him a little bit more ahead of everyone else. But that said, Keelan, what was the third thing that you said you wanted to watch? Or do you have something you wanted to go off of that?
Yes, I had something I wanted to say.
Okay.
Something that's worth noting, at least from my perspective, is Keelan made the comp of Drew Brees earlier, and I think that it's interesting to think that just because you're a taker doesn't mean that you're necessarily limited to an Alex Smith type role. There are elite quarterbacks in this league that have been takers. Tom Brady is a taker. Drew Brees is a taker.
For sure.
And so it's worth noting that just because Trask is a taker and Zach Wilson is a maker doesn't necessarily mean that Kyle Trask upside is is limited
Right.
in that way.
Yeah.
Fair.
I can't remember what I was gonna say, but I feel like it was similar to what Daniel said. So it doesn't matter to me what game we watch. Actually, Louisiana Tech sounds good. It's right there. And
Okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to see if there's one that is a little bit longer. Troy, North Alabama. Oh, Houston. Let's go with Houston.
Houston, yeah, that's a decent team.
Another ad for real? Goodness.
Good heavens.
This is the first year that I can remember us having to deal with ads in these videos,
Yeah.
which is very
People
frustrating.
starting to monetize their stuff.
Which is why these get taken down. Okay. Nice. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Are you still able to hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I just had to change my headphones over because my Bluetooth ones were dying.
I'm not sure how he's going to grade out yet, but man, I think I like him more than I did Kyler when he came out originally.
Yeah, I do too. I wasn't a massive fan of Kyler coming out, to be honest with you, but now that I see it, I think a lot of his marks being docked were due to his height, and now that I've seen that it can work, I don't think I disrespect the people who play similar to him.
Oh my god, a slide. Unbelievable. I don't think I don't believe what I just saw. A
You've been
quarterback who
watching too much Trey
slides.
Lance, Dave. Chris.
Yep. Yeah, you brought it up. That's why I mentioned, I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. That is crazy.
Wow.
Oh man. That's
Nice. This number 83 guy has been making a few plays.
Yeah, I'm
So
guessing that
in a
that's the tight end.
few games.
He looks like a bigger dude.
Yeah. Also, after further review, the Gunnar Romney, who's on BYU, appears to be some sort of nephew or something of
So
Mitch,
uncle.
not his grandson.
Yeah, uncle.
Yep.
Nice cycling ability for sure. I feel like if this game wasn't like less than a week after my surgery, I would be a lot more excited than I have been. I'm just very chill this week.
Yeah.
But like this is really exciting stuff. Like I may not sound like it because my energy levels are a little bit low right now. But like I am having a lot of fun doing this. It has been very exciting to watch so
Yeah.
far.
It's also been quite a few months, I think, since the last time I watched tape, so I'm quite excited to be back into this as we progress later into the season and into the playoffs and then into the off season.
Okay, so
Especially with the new regime.
Yep. So there we go, Daniel. There's a little
With the new
pocket presents for you.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a nice step up.
That's a nice play. Nice. Something I was hoping to see, and that's definitely good and exciting. So
Yeah, for me personally, going back to what you were just talking about, Keely, I've been focusing a lot more on pro style tape, and like obviously we do our like weekly game plans
yeah,
and stuff like that over the last couple months, and obviously watching coaching candidates, potential GM candidates as well, doing all that kind of research. So that's been keeping me real busy. I haven't really gotten to a whole lot of college tape.
yeah,
So it's been very interesting to kind of go over that side of things and take a look at what's going on around the league and what teams are doing, what systems are working, what teams are building around, the types of things, types of players and types of systems that are being employed, and as we head into the 2020s decade, and kind of taking a broader look at what's going on around the league and not just watching games on Sundays and, oh, that's a cool system, or oh, that's a cool team, or oh, I like that coach. Kind of being able to get into the more detailed aspects of, oh, okay, so the Colts run a nice hard cover two flat type system that allows them to play over the top without giving up deep shots, but at the same time playing the flats and forcing teams to beat them inside where they're strength of their defenses, stuff like that. So it's very fun to kind of just take a different perspective of things, and I think it's going to help us two out in particular, as we get into college tape, because we'll have a little bit better idea on what's working, what's not,
yeah.
what things are going to translate into the current systems and current teams.
I'm definitely looking forward to it, and hopefully we can get back into pro
Ooh.
tape this upcoming week. As I know we've kind of, well, I personally been taking a break from it. I've been pretty busy personally, but I'm hoping we can get back into it this week.
Yeah, I just had my surgery on Tuesday, I think it was. So like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So I have not been feeling good the last few days. I don't know if you heard my grand
Right.
say that before we got started, but
Yeah.
Can I just say that that's another
that's why I rewound.
example of poor pocket presence and
Yep.
pocket navigation?
Yeah, that's why I replayed that play a few times. Definitely with you on that.
Yeah.
Oh. 3rd and 19. What a very odd play call.
Yeah, I
Right,
think
I
you
mean,
gotta trust your quarterback on that one.
yeah. I think they were trying to go to get into field goal range for that play, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So this isn't like telegraphed or anything. He's obviously looking for the tight end originally. And he goes right in, and then he goes right out. So he must have just read the route and broke on the route concept without actually breaking on the quarterback. Which is something else to keep in mind. Like we were talking about with level of competition, right? Like some of these corners, they can break on lower receivers' route concepts. Like it's not necessarily,
Yep.
these guys aren't necessarily making plays based on where the quarterback's eyes are. Well, they're also making plays based on their routes and the concepts that the receivers are running, which is something that I like to look for in cornerback traits when I eval QBs. Is are
Yep.
they able to not necessarily read the eyes of the quarterback, or are they also able to read the feet and the hips of the receivers? So that's something to keep in mind when we talk about level of competition and stuff like that too. And that's what happened on the last play, I bet. Because, like, yeah, Wilson's not necessarily staring down a receiver, but his receivers are not exactly doing a great job of disguising their concepts either.
For sure.
So there is an element of predictability here, and knowing where the ball is going to go, but that has just as much to do with not necessarily the play calling, but the route running. Get out. Get out. Yep.
Ooh.
Good. Nice. Good.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more blitzes from Houston. I think if you're gonna fluster Zach, what you want to do is throw blitzes at him. He's inconsistent at best at handling them.
Which I think is the biggest difference between him and Trey Lance. Is that when I watched the Trey Lance tape, I forget exactly what game it was, but there was one game where they sent like 7 or 8 guys at him. He really did a nice job of reading that play. The mental traits are definitely there. So he's probably going to end up, Wilson, Keith, is probably going to end up grading out a little bit higher than him, Lance did. But there are some things that Lance does a lot better, that's a lot more developed than Wilson is, and vice versa. I mean, obviously, same goes for Trask, who's going to end up probably bringing out the lowest of the three, who does some things a lot better than either one of them. Like, I'm sure Kyle Trask does not even dare bother making this throw. Oh, crap.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I still like Trask the best of this group.
I think I like Trask the most, followed by Wilson, followed by Lance. I'm not sure if that's what's going to play out on my grading system, but that's how I feel personally. Like, especially for the Lions to. Obviously, it's scheme dependent.
Right. Yep.
But at this present time, not knowing who the next coach and GM are going to be, I think my order for the Lions would be Trask, followed by Wilson, followed by Lance. However, I do think Lance fits a more of a, I think, the best out of the three of them if we were to go with the 49ers type of
I would say Trask.
Yeah, I think that Trey Lance needs a scheme that sort of maximizes separation for him, and gets guys open for him. But he's pretty good outside of just making tight window throws. I think that tight window throws are just where he kind of struggles.
I'm not overly familiar with 49ers system. I don't watch
very West Coast, short passing, play action. Not extreme play action, but they're, from what I recall, pretty play action heavy. A lot of misdirection. It's Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur type of system. So, like, if you remember when we watched Green Bay,
yes,
very similar to that.
yeah.
Except they don't have
Also,
Rodgers,
there's
they
a
have
lot
Jimmy
of
G, so they don't take as many deep shots.
also there's a lot of bootleg and a lot of rollouts and whatnot. I think that will really help Lance get into rhythm. But we're talking about Wilson here, so I digress.
So actually, gonna stay off topic for a second here. One thing that interests me about this Houston team, you brought up the blitz thing. I think it was Daniel, right? You said they blitz a lot.
Yeah.
So watch Houston's defensive front here. We're gonna start here with a 23 or 24 here because this is a long background. This guy here. So 2 guys, 2 stand-up edges, and then a linebacker, right? So obviously we've already seen this play from Wilson. We already know it's going to be a short pass. Blah blah blah. Watch what they're going to do on next drive. They're going to come out with a 33 front, which is similar to. Oh, actually, that's a wide front. So wide 4. And then on this play, if they can come out with their 3 front. So they ran a 24 on the first play, a 42 wide on the second, and now they're running a 33 play. So they're doing a really nice job making it, going back on topic, they're doing a really nice job of really mixing up their looks that they're giving Wilson, and not necessarily disguising, but giving him a variety of pressure looks, a variety of pressure packages, a variety of alignments up front that he has to read and diagnose. Okay, maybe this guy's working, maybe this guy's not. Maybe this guy's shopping, maybe this guy's not, and so on. So that's really interesting to kind of watch and follow as we go through this particular game too. And here they're a little bit tighter for a 3rd and 1 short package. And ends up working out for him as a result. Play action. Play action. Nope, or not. Right idea, though. I like the passing concept. Oh, catch that. Okay, that's a flag. Oh, that's underthrown.
Yeah.
Out of the 3
He did
that
get
we've
hit as
been
he threw it
comparing,
and threw it. So it's not entirely on him, though. Kind of for that.
out of the 3 that we've been comparing, sorry.
You go.
Who would you most prefer, and if we were to keep Daryl Bevel as our offensive
Wilson,
coordinator
for
under?
sure. Not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wilson.
And then Lance and then Trask.
Yeah.
Which would be my personal order of preference, probably because of that. Because I'm most familiar with the Bevel offense.
Yeah.
I really like seeing quarterbacks in 3rd and long situations. It's always fascinating to see what they do. To me, like the DNA for quarterback kind of comes out in 3rd and long.
Oh, that's a good throw. Boom. So first off, just to keep harping on this, because it's something that they mentioned as originally as a concern, we're going to want to watch the progression in this play. It starts out reading the middle, then moves over. It's quick release as we discussed throughout. And then the timing element of this play to get that to him right on the cut point. It's very, very nice. Maximizes the space between him and the corner. Perfect ball placement. A very well executed throw. The out, yep, good. Much better. Oh, my. Maybe it's just because they had the same last name. But I feel, oh my gosh. But I feel like he has a lot in common with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Zach?
Not only the name, but I do see a resemblance in terms of the way that they play.
Like the style of running that they have, like I talked about, is very different than Josh Allen. It's more similar to like a Russell Wilson style of runner. The ability to just kind of run around in the pocket and then eventually throw it up and somehow it's a great catch. Very similar style of receiver that they thrive with. At least I envision them thriving with, that I would be building around.
Yeah.
Kind of similar in terms of their arm strength. They have very similar levels of arm talent. Kind of similar in terms of ball placement, not necessarily the most elite at placing the balls in your same like Baker Mayfield type of class, but they're both guys I trust to kind of put the ball where it needs to be in most situations. Guys who can make the easy throws when they need to be made, but at the same time are not afraid of taking chances down the field. Very, very interesting. from that standpoint of kind of the things that they do similarly. Now, there are some bigger differences. For example, Russell Wilson, of course, is not exactly afraid of running the ball a little bit more forward and direct, whereas Wilson, he kind of, or with Zach, I should say, he's kind of a little bit more indirect in his running style than Russell Wilson is. Russell Wilson a little bit more cautious in his in where he goes as he runs. But I feel like there are some similarities. Obviously, Zach Wilson a little bit bigger as well in terms of size.
At least for me, the point where that comp kind of falls apart for me is that Russell Wilson has elite pocket presence. Like, he is a Houdini in the pocket. He understands exactly where he's where he can make movements, or when he needs to bail, or when he needs to evade a rusher with a step up into the pocket, or scramble around. To me, Zach Wilson as a prospect is just has really poor pocket presence, and I'm not.
So here's the thing for me with that is Russell Wilson until a couple years ago did have that problem, and that's why everyone always talked about Seattle's offensive line being trash when Tom Cable was there. The amount of times that Russell Wilson ran into sacks was a lot higher than people think. That's why, remember, when, like, just on a personal note, this isn't necessarily like for the video, not everyone's going to understand this, but this is why Scott hates Russell Wilson. It's because Russell Wilson has a tendency to run into those sacks and makes his offensive line look bad. And he fixed that the last 2 years under Schottenheimer. But that was a problem that he had under Darrell Bevell, and I think they had another OC there outside of Bevell and Schottenheimer too, that he had an issue with. But that's not something that he just was good at coming out of Wisconsin or the other place, NC State. That's something that he has developed over time and with an improved offensive line. So I totally get what you're saying, because Russ is very, very good at that in 2020. But if we watch Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl game versus New England in 2015, we don't see the same Russell Wilson that we do today. On the other hand, that's a throw that I absolutely expect Russell Wilson to make. Just pristine on that intermediate level.
Yep.
Beautiful, right in stride, excellent placement, great trajectory and arc. I think that's just an ad. Hopefully this is actually like, okay, good. I think that's the last ad though, because I don't see another ad pop up. Nice, very easy throw. Oh, I gotta catch that. Yikes. Okay, so top by 5 in the fourth quarter. Nice. Very well executed. Screen pass. Really nice placement. Great timing. Oh my. That was really well designed play. Nice. Great read. I really like the short accuracy and velocity.
Yeah.
Oh man. His ability. With Wilson, I feel like I can trust him to make a throw at all 3 levels. I feel like I can trust him to make a throw short. I feel like I can trust him to make a throw 10 to 15 yards at the first down marker. I feel like I can trust him to make a throw 25 plus.
Yeah, I agree.
And that really opens up your playbook possibilities. That really opens up what you can do in terms of concepts. It really gives your offense a little bit more creativity and flexibility with the designs and concepts and system that you can run with him. Like, that's just a fantastic throw. I know he dropped it, but like, that is excellent low ball placement. Mission staying complete.
Is it just me, or does it feel like college quarterbacks are getting better?
They're definitely getting better.
Yeah.
I feel like the same can be said though for all positions, just as time continues to go on. As recruiting becomes better and better and more digitalized and appeals to more and more young players, as more and more young players are able to kind of post their highlights on YouTube and digitally and on Huddle, and it's easier to find better, more talented players at all positions. It's easier for college coaches to at bigger schools to kind of pitch themselves, whether that be through social media and digitally. Like, for example, like Ryan Day, like the social media presence of Ohio State is dramatic. It's a lot easier to appeal to these kids. Television is even as like going a little bit further back, as television becomes more and more popular, and there's more and more channels and more ways to watch different teams. Like, streaming becomes an option. It's easier for a college kid to say, "Oh, I want to watch BYU Houston today." Just easier for lower level schools to appeal. There's a lot of reasons. Coaching, just in general, is becoming better. As you're learning more and more and more about the game, and coaches are becoming smarter and more developed, and coaching trees are becoming wider and more expansive, you're getting a little bit further away from the traditional Bill Walsh, Bill Parcells type of classic coaches that once were, and more into modern offenses and modern approaches to the game, and adding more creativity to build around the best players and not stay within the system as much as we once did, once upon a time. And I think coaches are becoming a little bit more adaptable and adding a little bit more to their game and catering to younger players a little bit more than they did. Which is part of why guys like Matt Patricia fail. It is because they're not able to necessarily cater to those younger players. Whereas other coaches like Sean McVay, who are able to kind of cater to those younger players, are able to find a little bit more success that way. and that's becoming even more true at the college level where they're all younger players.
Yeah, that changed you literally took the words right out of my mouth.
So, with that being said, I'm going to add Zach Wilson here. Okay, roll grade, I'm going to call him Anyone started with upside. Concerns. Do I have any concerns? Keen, do you have any injury history we should be aware of?
He broke his hand last year, and that ended his season.
Okay. Nothing else?
I'll check. Just give me 1 second here.
Broken hand
In the
is
meantime,
what?
In the meantime, can you tell me the difference between high upside starter and day one starter upside?
So a high upside starter does not necessarily mean that they're ready to play right away. It means that they have like the potential to become a very good starter. Whereas a day one starter with upside is someone who I think should be able to start day one, but still has the upside to become something better as they develop over time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. For injuries, he had a hand injury last season during the season that resulted in surgery, and prior to the season, or like prior to last season, pardon me, he had shoulder surgery for a torn labrum.
Yep. That's where I'm at. Okay.
So he's had hand surgery and shoulder surgery.
Well, you said
within the last
you said that was 2 years ago.
That was, I believe, at the end of not last season, but the season before, towards like the beginning, like in the off season.
Yeah, so like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, for me personally, I don't think that really affected him as a passer.
Yeah, from what we've seen on tape, I don't believe it did either.
I don't think he's lacking arm strength or anything because of that. I don't think that his recovery is being hindered by that. Typically, you don't really worry about that becoming a reoccurring issue. So for me, not really a huge concern. Broken hand is a fluke injury. I'm not thinking of him breaking his hand again. So yeah, I'm not really particularly worried about the miracle side. Definitely not worried about the size. Definitely not worried about the playbook or system really. Like I said, I think you can build a system around him for sure. Definitely not worried about athleticism. He's a captain, so definitely no character issues. No real issues with mental toughness either. So I'm going to just mark him down as an L for potential Lions target. My comp for him, I'm kind of sailing into the Russell Wilson one. I feel pretty good about that kind of improvisational ability there, especially in terms of ceiling. Biggest strength. I don't want to necessarily say arm strength, but I'm going to go creativity.
All right.
Biggest weakness is, as Daniel has brought up several times, pocket.
Yeah.
Awareness. Floor ceiling. I'm going to go. I
By
actually
the
really
way,
like his what?
Do you have a difference between pocket awareness and pocket presence?
Yeah, so pocket awareness basically is being aware of where like the rush is coming from, being aware of blitzes, like recognizing where things are. Whereas pocket presence is more so the ability to escape the pocket and avoid pressure.
All right.
So, like for example, for me, Wilson's issue is not necessarily avoiding pressure; it's being aware of where the pressure is coming from and adjusting to it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm gonna go with high floor, high ceiling for him. I think he can start on day one. He doesn't necessarily have a lower floor, but at the same time, I also like his upside to be a high-end guy. Bust potential for me, probably about 25-ish%. I could see him failing on about a quarter of the league seems. 3 games we watched were Boise State was the second one.
Navy.
Navy was the first one. Yep. Oh, what was the 20? Boise State 20. And the one we just watched was Houston. Okay. One summary. One sentence summary for me is someone who can make things happen, but is at his best in I call it traditional. Oh, that's too long. Kept clean, I guess I'll put it. Okay, so someone who can make things happen but is at his best when kept clean. That is the way I ended up phrasing it. Okay, so
Cool.
Mental traits for me. I'm feeling pretty good about 21 there.
Yeah. Keeping in mind the pocket awareness.
Right, yeah. So I'm gonna go 21B, which I think is a 6.6. Armor strength is going to be 23, which is a minus, which is 6.8. Arm accuracy, I'll go with 22, which is a B plus, and a 6.7. And mobility is going to be a 23 as well, same as Lance, which is an A in this case, and a 6.9 in this case. So, while I calculate this, I will let you guys go starting with your summaries and then moving on to traits.
Cool. I'll go first with my summary, and then Daniel can go first with his grades. I said terrific improvisation skills. He can make plays with his legs, and also has a cannon and terrific ball placement down the field. He makes things happen.
I would say that he is mobile and accurate when kept clean, but struggles seeing and dealing with pressure.
Okay, I like that phrasing.
Of course you do. It's Daniel. Daniel phrases everything. I love Daniel. You want to give your grades now, Daniel?
Sure. Mental traits. I think that because I'm gonna flip it into pocket awareness and pocket presence generally,
Yep.
I think it's 17. I think that arm strength is obviously just amazing. I think it's clearly like I want to say 24.5, but since we're probably not doing decimals, it's probably like a 24 as opposed to a 25.
Yeah.
Accuracy, which sucks because I would have liked to have seen him. I would like to have seen a larger sample of him be accurate under pressure.
Okay.
But I think that he's probably a 22 accuracy. Just amazing deep balls and pretty solid on short stuff too. But can get a little bit errant when under pressure. Mobility, I think, is a 20.
Interesting. For me personally, for his arm strength, I gave him a 23. To me, I couldn't really give him a 24 because the 24, 25 to me is, say for like the guys like Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen,
Mahomes,
the guys with the
Stafford,
real,
Rodgers.
Mahomes, yeah.
Yep.
For that reason, I gave him a 23. I think he has an above average arm for sure, but I just don't think it's that like
It's good,
Hall of
but it's
Fame
not
level
elite.
arm. Yeah. Accuracy, I gave him a 22. You know, I thought he was pretty accurate. I don't think he's near as accurate as Kyle Trask is, but he definitely accurate enough. Mental traits I gave 21, and mobility I gave it 23. So adding that together, I gave him a 89 grade.
So
Which
you basically have the exact same as me.
Oh really? I didn't even look at yours.
I have 21 mental, 23 arm strength, 22 accuracy, and 23 mobility.
Oh wow.
So I think you have the exact same as me, which is kind of cool because that means I agree with you on that.
Nice.
So Daniel, what do you come out as?
Prior.
Total? And then we'll get back to you, Keelan.
Alright.
What?
What was your total on him?
Yeah.
What was it?
Sorry. What did you say?
What was your total on Wilson?
Like.
I didn't calculate it. Dang.
Oh, okay. Then we'll let Keelan finish, and then we'll come back to that on Daniel.
All right. Yep.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is prior to this season, when I graded Field, I graded him out as an 89. So currently, I have Wilson and Fields tied. Although I do expect Fields to improve on my list.
Yep.
It's just interesting to see that. Lawrence is a clear QB1 to me at this present time. I have a. I'll read off my list. I have Lawrence at 94. I have Field at 89. I have Wilson at 89. I have Trask at 86 and Lance at, or Trask in 88 and Lance in 86.
So yeah, for me, I ended up doing mine as I came to the same result as Keeling, where that's an 89, which comes out to a high B plus, and 6.75. So the NFL code grades are meant to be very, very close. Like a 6.3 is probably going to end up being like fourth round guys. So to give you an idea on what we're talking about, basically your 7s are like your number 1 overall picks, your 6.9s are like your top 10s, your 6.8s are like your first rounders, your 6.7s are going to be like your second round guys, your 6.6s are like your thirds, your 6.5s are like your fourths, your 6.4s are like your fifths, your 6. And so on. Until you get to 6. So I actually have a little bit of a scale built up. It's not exacting. I'm not like directly following the exact NFL system. I'm just using this as a way to help me implement it this year, because I'm not obviously in the NFL front office yet. But like 6.8 to 7 is basically your A's, your 23 pluses, day 1 starters, guys you want to draft in the first round. 6.6 to 6.8 is going to be your day 2 guys, your great guys, your 80 pluses. Starter with limitations is generally the code there. Your third round guys, your 68 pluses in this case, are your C's, your 6.6 to 6.4s, role players, guys who need a little bit of work but can basically come in and be a rotational piece on your team in most cases. So, for example, a receiving back is probably going to end up there. Slot receiver is probably going to end up there. Things like that. Your fourth round guys are your bench guys. Those are the guys who are going to get 15 pluses. Floor is generally going to be in the 60s, or a D grade, which, as you might expect, is not exactly good. Someone who has some legitimate concerns that they're not necessarily going to translate or be ready for pro action day 1. And then after that is like concerning poor and bad. Probably not going to be recording a whole heck of a lot of those guys on camera, hopefully. But those are like your special teamers, so like your vices, your gunners for corners and receivers, or safeties, or running backs, or tight ends. Offensive linemen, like maybe you've got a guy you might want to try at long snapper or something, or like depth players, practice squad guys, basically for their 40 pluses, and anyone below 40 is why did I watch that guy? So, Daniel, do you have your number calculated on Wilson yet?
Do
you have your number on Wilson calculated yet?
Okay. Well, let's quickly go over this. Go back to the categories. I think I had for mental traits. I think I had 18. On strength, I had 24. So 18 plus 24 equals 42. And combine that with an arm grade of 22, that would be 66. And then combine that with a mobility grade of 20, that would be
so you should be at 84.
86. Okay. 84 then.
Because it was, so how I did it was, you were 3 lower on mental traits, 18 to 21 is 3, arm strength you were +1, so that's -2, same accuracy, so still -2, and mobility you were 3 lower, which is -5, and I came out doing 89, so you were at 84.
Okay.
So, yeah, Daniel definitely a little bit lower on Wilson than the rest of us, but it sounds like you've come up a little bit on him at least, since we started the video. Will you say that's true?
Yeah. I've definitely come up a lot on Wilson. Um, there, before I thought he was a project. Now I think he can be a starter. But it needs specific things around him to be like uh, a high level starter.
Cool. So, question for you guys, just a little bit of an extra prompt. How would you guys compare him to someone who's expected to go around the same time as him uh, in last year's draft in Tua Tagovailoa? Would you guys prefer to take Zach Wilson or Tua?
I think Tua's better.
Keelan?
It's tough. think they're, I think they're pretty close. I think I do prefer Tua. I think Tua's a bit more pro ready, but I think Wilson might have the higher upside because of that he has the cannon mixed with the better mobility than Tua does. But I think Tua's the more accurate and the better player under pressure.
Very
So
nice.
I think it's relatively close. I think I would side with Tua, but
Okay, so same question, but prospect Herbert. So not Herbert that we've seen in the last 2 months, has been best QB in the league, arguably, according to some apparently. But like Herbert at Oregon. Who do you take? Keelan, you
definitely
first.
Wilson. Definitely Wilson.
Definitely Wilson.
Yeah, I think I was skeptical on Herbert. I didn't think he was really pro ready. I didn't think he made good decisions, and he doesn't have the mobility that Wilson has. So I definitely had to have to side with Wilson on that one.
Trask versus Wilson?
No, Wilson versus Justin Herbert.
Oh, Herbert. Well, no.
Prospect
To
Herbert,
be
not the
honest,
Herbert we've seen the last 2 months.
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't really watch a whole lot of Herbert at Oregon. So that's purely based on what I've seen of Herbert at the NFL level. So,
Gotcha.
but they're pretty similar. I think that Herbert's better under pressure than I expect Wilson.
Interesting. Alrighty then. So do you guys have anything else that you would like to add on Zach Wilson that we haven't already gone over?
I think I would like to make a general point about this class.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really good. I think that there's multiple NFL starters here. I think that of like the top five, which is like Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Fields, and Trey Lance, and Kyle Trask. I think there's going to be like 3 starters there.
At least.
And so I think that this is a really good class to get a quarterback.
There's potential in my mind for there to be 6 starting QBs in this class. The top 5 that Daniel mentioned, plus Mac Jones. I think all of those guys have potential and could very easily be starting quarterbacks in the NFL in the next couple of years.
Nice, yeah.
To be clear, when I think about starting quarterbacks, I'm talking like long-term starters. I don't mean just
gotcha.
Starters for
I think they all have potential.
Yeah, so
I think they all have potential to start in terms of how many will, be good quarterbacks in the NFL opposed to 2 of us. I really couldn't answer that. I would hope that Lawrence and Fields are pretty safe. On top of that, I couldn't really answer on the fact of Wilson, Trask, Lance, and Jones. I think Trask is pretty safe to me. But he also could be a guy that I don't know. I think this class is extremely talented.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm kind of surprised. That's one of the reasons I was kind of excited to get into this class, is to kind of see because, like, okay, so over here I always talk about, like, okay, is this the year that you actually want to go after a quarterback? Is this the class that you want to kind of attack that? If you have a need, do you want to wait until next year? Maybe there's a guy that you like that's going to be that clear number one, number two option next year when you might have a better pick in the case of, for example, the Lions. Like, do you want to take your shot on Wilson, Lance, or Trask now, or do you want to wait until next year and see if there's a guy that you like if you're picking second or third, if you run Chase Daniel out there for a year? And honestly, for me, personally, I think that our film sessions today, between the three of them, have convinced me enough to where I'm on board with taking a quarterback this year in round one. Especially if we get an asset back for Stafford this year, like a first rounder, where we can use that on another position.
If we get it,
What?
if we get a mid to late first or later first round pick from, say, the Colts or the
Steelers or whoever, yeah,
or the Steelers,
or Denver
and we can
even.
use our early first round pick on a quarterback. Unless we lose out, we're not going to be even close to getting Fields or
Yeah,
or Lawrence.
right,
But
yeah, that's why
with
I'm
our
not
pick,
worried about either of those guys. That's why I wanted to see the depth of the class with Wilson, Lance, Trask, and Matt Jones.
yeah, but even if we pick at 8 or 9, there's a high chance we could get one of the other three guys, and I would be very content with any of those three guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing Mac Jones to see if he belongs in that conversation.
Yep. Yeah, I think that
Same.
this convinced me that this is kind of the year, especially knowing that we're going to be changing regimes this year. Just let's see if we can find our guy and start developing him. Even if you keep staff for a year, even if you're not trying to do well this year, like just let's see what we can do. Find the guy now. If we have to take another quarterback next year and we end up wasting a first, then so be it. I guess that's kind of the way things have to be. But let's see what we can do this year and. Let's start that rebuild process now with one of these three guys or one of these four guys.
Can I just say? Can I just say that if we were to keep Stafford 1 year and set a guy, I would have. I think that Trey Lance could benefit extraordinarily from a year or two to set. I mean, like, obviously, everyone could benefit from having a year to sit, but I think Lance would benefit the most.
Yep, I completely agree with that. In fact, in my original write-up, when I did the video on Trey Lance, I mentioned in my one sentence summary, like, high upside guy with best every 6 a year. So I'm right there with you on that for sure.
I think I would rather. I think of all three of those guys, I think Lance is the least pro ready, and I would be comfortable starting either Wilson or Trask day one, but not so much Lance.
Yep. Trey Lance in a way almost kind of reminds me of like a Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Like how he's going to sit behind Rodgers for however many years that they're going to have Rodgers. I feel like that would be the kind of situation you want to see Trey Lance end up in. If that ends up being Detroit and we run with Stafford for a year, great. If we end up trading Stafford off and ending up with Zach Wilson, then fantastic. I'd love to see him here. Trask, I think, would be a little bit more boring and traditional. If we end up going the San Francisco route, then I guess that would end up making sense, especially if we end up with like a Peters, who has the ties to Denver and New England, who are also very similar types of QB scouts that Trask would follow. But yeah, I think Zach Wilson is probably going to be the highest on my board at the end of the year, barring something happening. I don't really see this shifting around a whole heck of a lot, especially with Lance's season over and Wilson kind of having all the tape out that we have on him. I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at with these guys.
Have you
Yeah,
seen
we're
any
pretty
of Lawrence or Fields?
I watched Lawrence last year, like 2019,
Okay,
but I have not seen a single minute of Clemson tape live this year. No.
fair enough.
I've
I
seen a
I
couple
I
of
think I
minutes of Justin Fields live when they played Nebraska. I watched like the first half,
yeah.
but not a single minute of Justin Fields tape, and that includes 2019. I didn't watch any Justin Fields tape in 2019 either. So when I do my Fields watch, I'm going to be going into that one, for all intents and purposes, completely clean. And when I do my Lawrence watch through, I'm going to only have minimal exposure to him from watching receivers and stuff like that.
Cool.
So,
Nice.
yeah. Do you guys have anything else that you want to add on Wilson? Or I guess for that matter, any of the three of you guys that we watched today?
I'd just like to say that I think that Trask is the best quarterback that I've seen in this class so far, not including Fields or Lawrence because I haven't seen either of them. But to me, Trask is the best. Then Wilson is the second best. Then Lance is third.
To me, I have Wilson, Trask, Lance in my rankings, but in terms of who I prefer, it's Trask. Do you get what I mean? Like, I think I would rather Trask on my team, but my draft grade has Wilson above Trask.
Yeah, I feel that. For me personally, I think I would rather have Wilson on my team. But that's just the style of football that I would like to see here moving forward. Uh, and I kind
Yeah,
of want someone who can be like that next marketable type of high upside type of guy.
that's
I
fair.
understand the appeal of a Trask who's going to be your more safer type of QB who may not be that superstar type of demand it all, run everything through me type of guy. But for me, I kind of
Yeah,
want that the next QB to be that guy, that dude on our team.
yeah.
And I
I
think that Wilson has the most dude
understand that.
potential out of everyone.
To me, it all depends for me personally who our next coaches, because I really want to see whoever the quarterback is going to be is to succeed. So I want someone that's going to fit the best so that they
Yep.
can grow into a franchise QB.
Yep.
All right, guys. I think we're done here.
Awesome. Well, that being said, hopefully you guys
Great.
enjoyed this one, learned a thing or two along the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this over the course of the rest of the off-season season. But for now, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and peace out.